Something that I think is important to remember about Dominique Alexander is he's not in this for the right reasons. It's very clear that he cares nothing about Carmelo Anthony because he's not willing to tell Carmelo Anthony the truth. He's not willing to hold him accountable. He's only in this to push his agenda. I'm Tamera. You're watching the Tamera Nealy Show. I would like to welcome back all my returning subscribers. And if you're new here, I would like to let you know I'm happy you're here. Before we get into today's show, let's say a quick prayer. Lord, I just thank you for who you are. Lord, I pray for Jeff Metcalf. I pray that you give him peace today, Lord. I know that he's going through so much, grieving, and Megan's grieving, Hunter's grieving, their whole family's grieving. Lord, I just pray that you just be with them today. I know that Hunter just went to prom by himself without his brother. And the family is, still having to pick up the pieces every single day. They are faced with the loss, and with the reality that they lost their son, Lord. So, Lord, I just pray that you comfort the Metcalf family today. Lord, be with them. Touch them, comfort them, Lord. They need you today. That's my prayer today, Lord, is that you just be with them. So, Lord, I just pray that you comfort them, keep them safe, keep them in you. Help them to know that they're loved by you, that you want to be there. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's go ahead and get into the first segment of this show. Before we get into more of the threats and stuff, let's just do a recap of what we know about this story, because I don't want y'all to forget. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap before we even get into everything that Dominique Alexander is going to say. On April 2nd, police got a call. They got a call that a high school student had been stabbed at a Frisco track meet. They arrived and learned victim Austin Metcalf and suspect Carmelo Anthony had been in a brief altercation. We know that it had something to do with Austin Metcalf asking Carmelo Anthony to leave their school tent. And Carmelo Anthony didn't want to leave the school tent. He then says, "Touch me and see what happens." I guess Austin Metcalf then pushes him, or something happens to where Austin Metcalf responds. Then he says, "Punch me and see what happens." Okay? So we know he said, "Touch me and see what happens." Then he says, "Punch me and see what happens." Shortly after, Carmelo Anthony proceeds to stab Austin Metcalf in the heart, in the chest. You can't tell me that that's not premeditated murder. When someone, it takes a whole lot to put a knife in somebody's chest. So for the people who are saying Carmelo Anthony acted in self-defense, Carmelo Anthony did not act in self-defense. Carmelo Anthony had every opportunity to walk away. And I want to add something. After that happened, Austin Metcalf says, "Get help, get help." He's running down the bleachers. Blood is coming out of his chest. He ends up dying in his twin brother's arms. Now his twin brother does not have a twin brother. His father is grieving. His mother is grieving. And Carmelo Anthony has been able to bring in over $500,000 worth of donations because he asked if it could be considered self-defense. Get out of here. So that's why I'm recapping the facts. Because people like Dominique Alexander want you to forget about what this case is about. This case is about getting justice for Austin Metcalf. His family are the true victims, not Dominique Alexander and not Carmelo Anthony and not Carmelo Anthony's family. Stop with the fake narrative.
Y'all, we wanted to take this moment to be able to educate people on what went on during our press conference that we held here.
We wanted to take this moment, or you wanted to take that moment? Last time I checked, you said that the family wasn't going to be speaking out until the trial. Or that was the last time we would hear from the Carmelo Anthony family until the trial. That's what was originally said. So I'm just saying this sounds a little bit, I can already tell this is just for him and his self promotion.
Office for the Anthony family. About 11 a.m. was where the press conference was actually supposed to start, right? About 10 a.m., because of the threats that we were receiving, not only against the Anthony family's life, my life, the threats we were getting towards the organization, Dallas Police Department were placed outside of the facility about 10 a.m. That was even before any press got here, anybody got here. Even our own security staff even got here. There were 2 plainclothes intelligence officers from DPD placed inside of the building. When Jeffrey Metcalf walked through the building, he walked past 2 plainclothes DPD officers.
Do you see how he's setting this up? He's about to try and make Jeff Metcalf, the father of the victim, Austin Metcalf, look terrible. Let me say something to you. This makes me sick to my stomach because if you look on Jeff Metcalf's Facebook, you know that Hunter Metcalf just went to prom. He went to the prom without his brother. When I look through the parents' social media, I see the twin brothers together. Imagine a big part of your family being gone, a big part of your heart being gone. And then you have the suspect, the people who did it to you, you have their spokesperson trying to make you into the problem. What sense does this make? This man's son was murdered by the person you're representing. You shouldn't be making any video. You should be quiet and ashamed of what happened. You should be wanting to stay out of this. But this is not really about Carmelo Anthony for Dominique Alexander. This is about pushing his organization, making George Soros allegedly more money, and causing chaos throughout our country. That's all he wants. This is about power and control. He feels like he's powerless. He feels like he doesn't have control. And the thing is he's thinking about all that happened at the press conference because he's wrong. Sir, if your press conference was the right thing to do, you wouldn't have to make a follow-up video. But you know good and well you shouldn't have been hosting that press conference to begin with. This is all to make himself feel more validated. Because he's struggling inside. Do you see what's happening here? Let's go ahead and keep playing it.
Called the police on him, they were already here. We heard so many different gossip bloggers, YouTube, TikTok, Fox News, all of these people talking about, how could you be insensitive to the father? How could you tell him to leave? He's the victim. He's this, he's that. What you're missing, this press conference was not organized by him. This press conference wasn't about him. This press conference didn't invite him. It's a private facility. And yet at the end of the day, it's a criminal case, y'all. It's literally inappropriate, not only ethically, but it's inappropriate for that family to interact. And we don't know what we don't know. And at the end of the day, I have to ensure that the safe.
Why did you spend your time working on this, sir? I just want to know, what was the point of you making this? This could have been a simple, if you wanted to speak about the press conference, you really could have just made a Twitter post. You could have just made an X post about it. Hey, just so you know, Jeff Metcalf wasn't kicked out, blah, blah, blah. Whatever your story is, which I don't believe your story. I don't believe any of what you're saying. But you could have made this into an X post. Instead, you just wanted to continue your 15 minutes of fame. And you sound like a little girl. I'm just saying. Take out the earrings. Take out the earrings. Take off the fake glasses. Because we know that those are not prescription glasses. And start acting like a grown man. Find a real job. Find something that's actually really meaningful to do instead of spending your time being a grifter, being a race baiter, being a hater. Because really all you're doing is hating. You're upset because white people are taking advantage of the opportunities they've been given. You should also be taking advantage of the opportunities you have been given because you live in the greatest country on planet Earth with many opportunities. No matter what your family upbringing was, you have the opportunity to be something great because you're an American. Stop sitting here acting like you're some victim. And see, the thing is just last week, we saw that this one black lady, she moved to Africa, and she'll tell you it ain't worth moving there. If you're so oppressed, how about you go try that out? And how about you go try Africa out and let me know how it is? Because I'm sure not going. I'm sure not going. Because I'm an American of African descent. Which means that my family doesn't have a close connection with Africa. That was decades ago. That was generations ago. You are an American. So stop sitting here acting like you oppress and all that. You get on my nerves. Let me see if I can speed this up because this is just getting on my nerves. So I just put it on a higher speed so that we can go through this quickly. It just kind of gives me a headache if I'm being honest.
Of all of the parties are intact. Just someone showing up at our press conference, we can't just have that. We don't know what it is. But this whole notion that we just went after him and attacked him and just had this vendetta against this father who has lost his child. Look, I've lost a child. I'm 1 year later after burying my own son.
I'm sorry for your loss, regardless of if that's your child or not, because I don't think that that's actually your child. On your Facebook, how you present the story of the child's passing and the circumstances, you say something about the father and the mother, and the child doesn't have your last name. So therefore, I'm kind of like, is that even your child? If that is the case, though, you should have empathy and understanding. You should be going the extra mile to give comfort to this family, to Austin Metcalf's family, because you understand what it's like to experience loss. But really, it's not about Austin Metcalf for you, and it's not about Carmelo Anthony for you. It is about your political agenda. That's why you have all this stuff on your Facebook about how you don't like President Trump. You make it very clear that you're against MAGA. This is about trying to destroy the agenda of MAGA because you're losing. Your party is losing. You don't have a storyline, so therefore you have to have lies. You've got to use lies in order to get somewhere. They are banking on this story to be the next, to use this as the next opportunity to start a race war, and they want like a legitimate race war. They want white people on the street so they can be able to justify what they would put this country through. I hope and pray that white people keep the standard that most white people have, which is excellence. You don't see white people going on a day-to-day. You don't see white people acting crazy like what we see the black community doing. You just don't see it happening in the white community. Yeah, there may be some outliers. There may be some crazy people. You don't see the same level of violence in the white community as you see in the black community. And yes, we know that the black community is only 13% of the population. However, they commit an egregious amount of crimes. If anything, Dominique Alexander, you are a victim. If you want to be a victim, you are a victim of your own community and your own community's downfall. If anything.
I understand that pain, right? But here's the thing. We didn't even know who he was. That's the crazy part. All of these gossip bloggers and different people rush to do videos and do this. And I really don't care about what no one says about me. I really don't. I don't care about the racist pricks who want to say things about Dominique and say something about my past. I really, quite frankly, don't. If you personally know me, you know your attacks towards me only do one thing: boost my ego, right? The reality is I really, quite frankly, don't give a damn, right? So I just want you to truly understand that. So
that's not why people are saying anything to you. They care more about Austin Metcalf and making sure that he gets justice. And making sure that people understand who you really are. You are a race grifter. You are known for being a baby beater. And you don't care about anybody but yourself. It's very clear and it's very obvious. That's what people are talking about.
You attacking my post, you saying my name, you tagging me, you doing all this. That's really not going to help your cause, because I'm tried, tested, and proven, y'all. I've been doing this over 10 years.
Doing what over 10 years?
Saying things about me, man, you're going to waste your time, your everything. Putting 45 minutes on Instagram or whatever you want to do to say that Dominique Alexander is the Antichrist. I wouldn't give two cahoots, right? Because you don't know me. You don't know anything about me. And
oh, people don't know anything about you? Yeah, they do know stuff about you.
Yet trying to post my background or whatever it is. Let me say this real quick. I'm the first person to tell my own testimony. Nobody has to tell it for me. At the end of the day, I was the most talked about individual over the course of 10 years, right? So trying to use a moment to yet come out and say stuff about my background that I've never hidden. Maybe y'all should do some research to see when my background was actually released. Maybe you should do a research and see how many times on social media I post my mugshots. You ain't got to tell that story. At the end of the day, there's more mugshots.
Yeah, people do have to tell that story because they don't want people thinking that you're some legitimate minister people want to expose deception. And the thing is you've been deceitful. You make it seem like you're just this minister and you're just trying to help and all this stuff. No, you are a grifter. You are a race baiter. You are looking for an opportunity to push a negative agenda to try to destroy America. That's what you're trying to do because you don't like America. Why don't you like America, Dominique? It's because you're not putting in the effort that requires to be successful in America. That's required to be successful in America. That's on you, sir. That's your own fault. Work harder.
What you actually posted, right? Let me make that very clear. So keep on digging. Do whatever you want to do. Just keep on saying it, whatever it may be. But it's not about that. At the end of the day, when we were trying to secure this facility and secure the press conference, I asked our security staff to keep a lane open straight to the podium so that the family can come in and go right back out. Let me say this. The Anthony family didn't even know that Austin's dad was even in the facility.
So he spent 5 minutes talking about himself. Now he's finally getting into what he wants to talk about. 5 minutes just rambling.
They didn't know that Austin's dad was here until he was actually removed by DPD. One of our security people asked him to move back. He looked back at him like he was entitled or like he'd have to move, whatever it may be. We didn't even know who he was at this time. We just asked him to step back. Then one of the members of the media told us that, hey, that's the dad. I said, the dad of who? I said, who? What? He was like, yeah, that's Austin's dad. I said, I know you lying. Like, what? He can't be here. And so what we initiated.
Oh, you weren't expecting the dad of the victim to show up? Well, you wanted some attention. You wanted to make a scene. He's there to watch you make a scene. He's there to watch you play victim. If what they're saying is so true, why didn't they feel comfortable just saying it in front of the dad, in front of Jeff Metcalf? What made them so uncomfortable about that? Do you see what I'm saying? But it really wasn't about that Jeff Metcalf did anything wrong, because it's not wrong for him to show up at that press conference. It wasn't wrong for him to show up at the press conference. This is about the fact that they didn't like that they were being met by the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is they are not victims. Their son killed Austin Metcalf, senselessly murdered him for no good reason. Somebody telling you to get out of a tent and pushing you maybe and having a brief altercation doesn't mean that you didn't have the right to stab that person. It just doesn't work like that. And we know that force has to be proportional. So that self-defense claim is really not going to work in court more than likely because it has to be proportional force. And from my understanding, Hunter Metcalf did not even punch the dude. Hunter Metcalf never put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, from my understanding. We haven't seen any reports that have said that. Maybe Hunter Metcalf could have said something to Carmelo Anthony, but as far as putting his hands on him, we didn't see that. We know that Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony had a brief altercation, but there has been nothing that has come out that says that Hunter Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony. Those kids were taken by surprise when Carmelo Anthony put a knife in Austin Metcalf. Because who would think somebody would be that crazy and go that far? At a track meet, at a school event.
Is making sure that we secured the facility. Let me make this very clear. The Anthony family didn't even know he was here. But how do we know what he came here for? He didn't come and ask or come to us and say it. He just stood there. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if we started the press conference, and I'm not accusing him of anything. We didn't know if he was going to pull out a gun. We didn't know what we didn't know. But at the end of the day, we just wait and just say, oh man, just let's start the press conference. We didn't pat anybody down coming into the facility. We didn't look at everybody. We didn't know, y'all. But these YouTubers and TikTok and all these people started to rush to judgment. I'm being insensitive. I'm being this. I have a press conference with a whole media press corps in a family that I have to ensure the safety of. NGAN had at least 12 people on our security team that day. We could have removed him if we wanted to. We could have literally done that. But no, what we did was we tried, because of the sensitivity of the case, allow DPD to handle it. If anybody that was there, no, we didn't lack security, right? But where he came in and approached, we could not allow him to stay there. Not only outside of the fact that this is a current pending criminal case, right? And the press conference was about the Anthony family and their use of funds. The funds that they had not even received yet at that time. So it wasn't really about the particulars of the case.
It was about the case. See, they're trying to make it seem like, oh no, the press conference was about the use of funds and all this. No, it was about making sure the public heard them, cry and, oh, my little Carmelo Anthony. So they can have sympathy for Carmelo Anthony. And when the judge announces that he is guilty, Dominique Alexander, who is a known rioter, is expecting the public to then come out and show up on Carmelo Anthony's behalf. That's what Dominique Alexander and Carmelo Anthony's family is expecting. Just like Carmelo Anthony's family got those t-shirts made for Carmelo Anthony, talking about some free Melo. As if he's some victim out here who needs to be freed. The only thing he needs to be freed from is himself. Because inside he is feeling like he is dying. Because he took a life. And if you look in the comment sections, on one of my videos, a veteran, which we thank you, veterans, for your service. Thank you for everything that you have done to keep us safe and to keep this country free. I saw a veteran leave a comment that said that he still hasn't even been able to fully recover from taking lives or taking a life. I don't know how many he's taken, but he has been still very affected by it to this day, and he is elderly now. Taking a life requires a life. It's not something that anybody should consider doing just lackadaisy. And we're seeing more and more stabbings now. I think just because of this Carmelo Anthony case, I saw a couple more stabbing cases come out. And then you see a father who was motivated to kill a police officer It's just because his son was murdered by a police, or his son was shot by a police officer and all this stuff. And I'm just like, this is just so crazy that we live in a world that is justifying evil. We live in an upside down world. The question is are you going to join in with the circus? Because I sure am not. You can go be a clown with the circus, but I am not.
Was about these false narratives that came out about how they were using their fund. That's it. It was talking about Carmelo's school, whether he'll be able to graduate. It was talking about the threats to their home. It had nothing to do with the particulars of the actual case. What went under the tent? What did this on this rainy day? What's this? What's that? It has nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with what the Anthony family, the mom, the dad, the siblings were experiencing. And so, yes, we asked for him to be removed, not only for just our safety, but also his safety too as well. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, we know that y'all don't know what y'all don't know, because if you're anything like Carmelo Anthony, and if you react anything like how Carmelo Anthony did, you don't act in good faith. You always are trying to make sure that you jab first.
At the end of the day, what do I do? Wait until something happens and then stand in front of a camera and say, man, I'm sorry. I hired 12 people to be on the security that day. But you know, when it came to security,
I had to pause from I had to pause from Dominique Alexander's foolishness for a second. I got to show you this video. Dominique Alexander is acting like Jeff Metcalf came there about to do this.
This fight breaking out during the sentencing phase of a murder trial between members of the victim's family and the defendant's loved ones. Punches still flying as the fight grows even bigger, moving into the aisle. Until finally, deputies restore order.
In all reality, Austin Metcalf's dad was peaceful. He wasn't, rude. He may have been quiet. He may have been in shock. He may have presented himself as though he was maybe stone cold or whatever they're trying to make it seem like. Oh, well, he didn't speak and he didn't do that. Do you know how many emotions that man was probably experiencing? He was trying to make peace with you guys. Trying to show a united front for the families and show that let's not do this. Let's not make this into a race thing. Let's not make this into that. He was trying to unify and play unifier. He was trying to do that. And y'all are making it seem like this man was acting like those black ghetto people on there. When you know good and well, he wasn't acting like that. He instead said, I didn't come here to cause any problems. See, that's how it was. And here's my thing too. If Austin Metcalf's dad was really coming there to fight y'all and stuff like that, don't you think he would have brought other people with him to take all of y'all down? Don't you think he would have brought his big old guns with him? What sense does this make? That man was not a threat at the press conference, so stop.
I didn't let them secure. I didn't let them do their job. That's what I'm supposed to do? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. This was not an attack on him, but we felt it was very disrespectful on how he came about it and how we, even before you even knew it was a thing, we were asking him repeatedly to leave. And literally he wouldn't even talk. He wouldn't even say anything. He felt like he could just stand there. That's not right. It was very upsetting to me. It's not right. Because if you're coming here I heard somebody say he was coming there for prayer. He was coming there to come and hug. Well, that wasn't the spirit that we got. There were more than 12, 15 people. Even the media came and approached him. Even DPD plainclothes officers.
He wanted to see Carmelo Anthony's family. That's why he came there. It's to be able to look them in the eye while they spread those lies and hopefully be able to share the truth with them. That's why he came there. Stop, Dominique Alexander. I've had enough of you. So now let's go to the comment section. So Jeff Metcalf says, at least get your story factual. I was never asked to leave by anyone or refused to leave when asked. I only left peacefully after the first time I was asked to leave. So basically he's saying he left peacefully after the first time he was asked to leave. You don't have the intestinal fortitude. That's a big word right there. You don't have the intestinal fortitude to even look me in the eye. Come on. I told you that's what he was coming there for. But you will gaslight me after I'm gone. Your rap sheet speaks volumes of your character. He is right. Who is the true victim here? My dead son? You are a race hustler looking for your 15 minutes of fame to plug your company on your infomercial called a press conference. You couldn't even pronounce his name correctly. You are a disgrace to the human race. See, he was nice about that because he sure could have said, you are a disgrace to black folks. But he was nice enough to say, you are a disgrace to the human race. Very classy. Dominique Alexander responds. Jeff Metcalf posting on my timeline tells the world how unhinged you are coming on this post. Lying that no one asked you to leave before uniform officers approach you is ridiculous. I want you to remember that this is a facility with several cameras. I hope you hold up. I got to read this again. Jeff Metcalf, you posted on my timeline telling the world how unhinged you are coming on this post, lying that no one asked you to leave before uniform officers approach you is ridiculous. I want you to remember that this is a facility with several cameras. I hope you seriously will not stick to this lie, dude. I hope you won't stick to your lie, Dominique Alexander. Because the truth is that you've been lying since day one. You need to come out of your lies. He goes on to say, I've been working in this field for more than 11 years. What field are you talking about? Please tell me what field you're talking about, because I'm not seeing anything good coming from what you have going on. Don't make me go down the line and go down the story. You can talk about my rap sheet all you want. No one cares, and I don't care about pronouncing his name right. That's not important at all. Do you see how girlish this sounds? Let me see what else is on here. Jeff Metcalf says, you can't even speak the truth. Dominique Alexander says, Jeff Metcalf, dude, I don't know where your sense of entitlement comes from, but just keep on posting. Let the world see how unhinged you are. See, he's jealous of, Dominique Alexander is jealous of Jeff Metcalf. Because he doesn't have the moral character that Jeff Metcalf has. He doesn't have the guts to forgive those who have harmed him. He doesn't have the guts to stand in the gap for people that he loves. He doesn't have those guts. So Dominique Alexander is really just jealous of Jeff Metcalf. He wants to be Jeff Metcalf. But he can't be Jeff Metcalf. So he continues to try and pick at Jeff Metcalf. Pick at him, hoping that he's going to get a reaction out of him. So then Dominique Alexander said, Jeff Metcalf, also maybe I should show the world how you came to visit the dad's job days later. You are harassing this family while trying to play victim. Dude, you should stop. So what? He showed up at the dad's job. Jeff Metcalf has had to step down from his job voluntarily because of this craziness that happened. So what? Jeff Metcalf shows up to the father's job of the son who killed his son senselessly murdered his son, Austin Metcalf. So what if he decides to show up at the job? He was nice enough to only show up there. At least he didn't bring a knife. Okay, let me come back now. Jeff Metcalf responds, Dominique Alexander, why don't you just meet me in person and have a civil conversation? Just me and you. You man enough? Woo. Woo. This is getting heated. I might need to get some water. Hold on. Lord. Now, I know I'm being entertaining while I'm telling y'all this, but this is seriously his life, okay? I'm saying it in an entertaining way, but this is really Jeff Metcalf's life. This is not entertainment for him. His son was senselessly murdered by this family's son, and this family is making a show out of it. This is not a game for Jeff Metcalf. Dominique Alexander responds, Jeff Metcalf, really? Wow, good day, sir. Jeff responds, Dominique Alexander, didn't think you could face me. And then this guy named Jarvis jumps in, says, tag me in, Dominique Alexander. I'll go in your place, bro, gladly. He says, depends whether or not the good father could have a civil conversation, considering how he's speaking to Minister Dominique Alexander here, who did nothing to him at all. I'm not so sure, but he may not give me the same energy that he's giving DA here. I match energy over here. You can do this easy. We can do this easy, or we can do this hard. We can live for the devil, or we can live for the Lord. What is that supposed to mean? Jarvis Wright then responds, name the time, Jeff Metcalf then responds to Jarvis Wright and says, name the time and place. Jarvis Wright says to Jeff Metcalf, check your inbox. Wow. But that's the thing, is they have taken everything from Jeff Metcalf. Imagine being in his shoes. He's been really nice to these people, and they just keep pushing them. Lord, I pray that Jeff Metcalf does not go around those people, because, Lord, I can't trust that they won't act crazy. So, Lord, keep them safe. Jeff Metcalf then responds to Jarvis Wright and says, you must have forgotten to press send, empty. Jarvis Wright responds to Melissa Kelly and says, the same reason 77 million Americans support Donald Trump. That's why I support Carmelo Anthony and Dominique Alexander. And you better predict in your own sick fate than my sons. I don't know what that means. So then it goes on and goes on and on. And I don't see any more responses from Jeff Metcalf. We'll see what kind of comes of it. Oh, Jeff Metcalf responds to somebody. So Jeff Metcalf responds to someone named Brian. Says, Dip, great comeback. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. At least Jeff Metcalf responds and says, at least learn the facts before opening your mouth and displaying your own ignorance. Okay, I'm done. All right, y'all. So what I think we need to take from this is we need to continue to pray for Jeff Metcalf. Pray, for his safety. Pray for his family's safety. They have been swatted. They've been going through so much. Obviously, they're dealing with grief, and we just have to pray for them. Because none of us can imagine most of us cannot imagine being in his shoes. And so I'm praying for Jeff Metcalf. I pray that he don't, go out there and, don't even meet up with those people. because they're not even worth your energy, sir. You are on this level. Don't stoop to their level, because at the end of the day, those people are just miserable. They aren't happy with their own lives. They're constantly playing victim because they don't work hard enough, and they really need to go get a real job. So, sir, please don't waste your time with them. But anyways, thank y'all for joining the Tamera Nealy show. I know this was a late show, so let me know, did you make it to the end? If so, let me know you made it, please. I love y'all so much. Thanks for joining me. We'll get this up as soon as possible. It's going to be, it's 10 o'clock now in Oklahoma, so it's going to be 8 o'clock for some of y'all, so it's going to be right on time. But I love y'all so much. Thank you for your love and support, and you'll hear from me soon, okay?